Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all well and healthy and taking care of yourself. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience going to Turkey and getting a Brazilian butt lift. So yes, I finally went for surgery and I had a BBL. The video is going to be quite in-depth. I did make a vlog on TikTok, but it was highly requested by people. They were like, oh, can you film an experience? So if I'm stood up, I'm still not really sitting on my bum, and I'll tell you why. So I had surgery on June the 14th. June the 13th I went to Turkey and I had the procedure on June the 14th. It was something that I did extensive research on. I'm not somebody that just, is spontaneous and just books something like a week before. Something I did heaps of research on for the past 2 years approximately. I had friends who went to the same clinic, friends who went to the same surgeon, and I'm just somebody that researches a lot before I get myself in detrimental situations. So I was always very insecure about my body. My body was quite masculine looking, and me being transgender, I wanted a more feminine, curvy body. I decided to go abroad because I've seen so many people go abroad overseas. I found a clinic called Medici Aesthetics, and they're the ones that I went to for my surgery. So like I said, of course, I'll split this video in chapters so you can actually, click on like different things. So I had surgery 12 weeks ago. Let me start all the way in the beginning on going there and how it was. And then of course I'll talk about pain, I'll talk about aftercare, and I'll talk about, how I'm doing now. I went with my sister. We went to Turkey, Istanbul. So I, like I said, I did a lot of research on this company. The surgery was performed on the 15th of June. I think it was the 15th. It was quite scary, I'll be honest. I was quite scared. And I think it didn't really hit me until I went there and I was signing the consent forms. Consent forms, of course, talk about risks and complications. And I think that's when it really hit me, and I literally looked at my sister and I was like, shit. I'm sure it said like risk of death or something. And I was like, yes. I really wanted this procedure, and I was like, look, I really want a nice curvy body. And I will show you the results as well in a little while. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll show you the results now, actually. Hold on. Just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. So when I was signing the consent forms, of course, everything was really shit scary. It felt really real. Going for the surgery, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. The surgeon came, and of course, the doctor came, and they were marking my body, and I was telling them, and I was showing pictures of, what I wanted my body to look like. I knew I wouldn't get like a vixen, like doll body, but as long as it was an improvement, which it is. So my stomach fat is actually quite stubborn fat, so it's called visceral fat. Now everybody has like two kinds of fat, correct me if I'm wrong. It's visceral and it's subcutaneous fat. So the fat that I had on my stomach, my body was very apple shaped. I had no hips, all my fat would centralize on my stomach. And of course I tried dieting, exercising, everything, but I still had, I'll put a picture on the screen of my stomach. And of course I struggled with a lot of bloating as well. So I took like a few pictures, I'll put them on the screen, of before I was just gonna have the surgery. And then one of the male nurses came, gave me a hat, gave me like an apron or something. My sister waved goodbye to me and I was off, and they were strolling me to the anesthesia room. When I was in the anesthesia room, it really, really scared me, I'll be honest, because they were all speaking Turkish. And I was like, I did have like a few questions I wanted to ask before I, had the surgery. Well, before I was going to be put to sleep. And then of course the English speaking nurse came and she was like, are you okay? I've just come to check on you. And I was like, yeah, I'm completely fine, thank you. I just wanted to like make sure everything was fine. And she was like, yeah, everything is fine. So I, within 2-3 seconds, bam, I was gone, knocked out, and I was asleep for 5 hours. So my surgery took 5 hours. It took 5 hours to craft my body, basically. So as I woke up from the surgery, I literally was completely out of it. I wasn't really in any pain, but I did actually end up throwing up, and it was due to the anesthesia. Now, I've actually been put to sleep before, so I'm not allergic to anesthesia or anything. I think I was like 13 and I had like 9 teeth taken out. which was crazy because I pissed myself. I think that's what I was a bit worried about, if I pissed myself when I wake up or while I'm asleep. But that didn't happen, thank God. So when I woke up, my sister was with me. Of course, they strolled me back into the room. I was shaking uncontrollably. Now, when you get, of course, when your body's going through such a procedure, it's going through all that trauma and it's kind of like processing it. So I was shaking uncontrollably. I was literally like, in that anesthesia room, it was freezing. When I came out, I was freezing cold. I was fully white. I'll put a picture on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I have quite a high pain tolerance, and also the medication that they put me on was actually amazing. I didn't feel much pain. It was just discomfort. When I woke up and I was in my senses, so I came out, I went in the surgery at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I think I came out at 10, 11, 12, 1. I think I came out at 3, so I think it was 6 hours. So for like, I came out at 3, and then for the next like 4 hours I was completely loopy. I was out of it. I don't remember anything in those 4 hours. And then as soon as I regained consciousness and I was able to speak and ask questions, they were saying things like I couldn't eat anything. And when I woke up, of course, I was, you know, my boobs were out, my downstairs was out, and it was, so the first thing I was literally doing when I regained consciousness was trying to like conceal myself because everything was out. But then again, of course, they were nurses, you know, they were doctors, and they probably used to seeing all of that shit. So, and then I had a catheter in my downstairs region, which was like I didn't expect that. I didn't know that would happen. So I had a catheter, which of course I was urinating into. I think it was a bag or something. And then I had these drains in me. I'll put some pictures on the screen. If you guys are squeamish or anything and you don't like blood, then maybe like forward it, or like maybe click on a different video, because I will be posting quite some graphic content, just because I want to make everybody aware of, you know, when you sell your soul, this is what happens. No, I'm joking. Drains were highly inconvenient. They weren't painful. I had like 1, 2, 3, I think I had like 4 drains in me. They were going in my pelvic region, just above my genital region. There was like 2 on the sides. There was 2 in the back. So I think it was 4, and then I had a catheter down there. It was quite uncomfortable, I'll be honest, and I couldn't move. I felt like I was paralysed. As soon as I woke up, I couldn't move, nothing. And me and my sister were just laughing because I literally couldn't move. I wasn't in any pain. I think I would say the pain was like a 2, 3 out of 10. It wasn't that kind of pain. I mean, it was quite shocking because I thought I'd be in severe pain when I wasn't. Medication was so good that they put me on. Now that I think about it, I'm just like, I wonder what it was. I had something to eat after like a few hours, and I had the food. The food was actually quite nice. And then I walked after a few hours again, because you have to circulate the blood to prevent any blood clots. First walk was, it was something. It was literally something. I think when I was walking, one of the drains ended up like tugging on, I think, the bed, and I literally screamed. It was agony. That was of course the first day. The second day we went to the hotel. Hotel was stunning. Honestly, the whole culture in Turkey, I genuinely enjoyed it so much. Everyone was so kind, everyone was amazing, and I honestly had the best time of my life. Everything was stunning. This is the first time I've actually been abroad, so I was just genuinely enjoying it. And I feel like because I was in such a different environment, I wasn't in so much pain, if that makes any sense. And yeah, it was amazing. So we checked into the hotel. The hotel was honestly stunning. It was a business 5-star hotel that we stayed in. The times in the hotel, of course, when I was recovering, I was leaking a lot of blood. So I was quite concerned, thinking, you know, I'm leaking quite a lot of blood. Like I said, if you're squeamish, click next, because I will be putting some graphic content on the screen so you guys can actually see, you know, what I'm talking about. I was bleeding quite a lot, like my drains were leaking quite a lot. First day that we stayed in the hotel, the next day after that, I was traveling, which is really crazy. I wasn't in any pain. It was just the drains, and they were quite frustrating. And, you know, everyone was shocked, like, how am I still traveling with these drains in that I was just carrying around, walking everywhere? And it was just inconvenient. It wasn't that I was sore, but I wasn't like, oh, you know, in so much pain. And even I was quite surprised as well. So we were traveling everywhere. We went to the Blue Mosque, we went to Hagia Sophia, and we went to, you know, the Grand Bazaar. We went to so many different attractions. It was amazing. And yeah, I think that really helped with my recovery because I was walking a lot. Now, the problem I had was swelling. So on the 3rd day, now I wasn't made aware of this, but I had like swelling accumulating in kind of like my downstairs region, and the swelling was getting really, really big, and it was concerning. But then of course they reassured me. I did reach out to the surgeon and they reassured me that everything was fine. I'll put some pictures on the screen of my swelling, but I mean, it was really, really scary. Even my sister was scared. And that was the most difficult part of the surgery, dealing with the swelling down there. The fact that I was that swollen, I had to fucking pick it up. That's literally my... I don't even want to talk about it, honestly. Even looking at the pictures, I feel repulsed and I feel sick, and I'm like, I can't believe that was like what I was going through. Like, I'm not even overreacting. It was the size of a fucking baby's head. It was literally the size of a baby's head. Like, it was crazy, and it made me so dysphoric. Me already being transgender and dealing with dysphoria, especially with that region, and me looking down there and seeing it the size of a fucking baby's head. Yeah, it was fun. That was difficult. The massages were difficult. Now, the lymphatic draining massages, now in Turkey they were really bad, they were really painful, but it's because you've accumulated so much fluid, they need to take majority of it out, which I completely understand. It's nothing, it's not their fault, but it was fucking brutal, honestly. It was crazy. I'm gonna put some pictures on the screen. You can literally see blood seeping out of my body. One of the nurses, actually, my incision was closed, she had to puncture it with like a razor, and then just drain all the fluid out. That video is really graphic. I don't think I could put that on YouTube, but it was crazy. And of course, compression garment, the garment that they put me in when I woke up from the surgery, it was very, you know, loose, and it has to be loose. You know, it's a post-surgical garment. It doesn't give any compression. The one that I'm wearing now is a stage 2 one. I can make another video on garments and aftercare if you guys want. This is the garment I've been wearing for probably 4 weeks now. This is from Tributo, as you can see. Gives that nice snatch. Okay, so I stayed there for 5 days. Now I extended my stay. So let's get into why I extended my stay. Now, when I went to the clinic for a checkup, my drains, of course, I still had the drains in me. I was still leaking quite a lot of fluid. Now, our flights were the next day, and we couldn't fly back to the UK with those drains in. There's no way I would have done that. So I basically extended my flight. The hotel receptionists were really lovely. They called the Turkish Airlines, and we extended our stay for another 2 days. So we stayed in Turkey for 2 more days. I paid, of course, extra for the hotel. I'm so glad. I'm actually really glad I took so much money. I took like just over £2,000 I took, and that was just for expenses. And I'm glad I did, because by the time I came back it was all gone. Now, we stayed in the 2 days, and I went back to the clinic and my drains were still leaking, and I couldn't afford to extend my flight and the stay in the hotel again. So the nurse told me, she's like, we can remove your drains, but you have 2 options. We can either stitch you up, so we can stitch all of your incisions so you're not leaking uncontrollably, or we can just put pads on you so your incisions will be left open, and then you'd have to fly back like that. Now, there's no way in hell I would have left my incisions open. Without a doubt, I wouldn't have done that. So I told them to, of course, sew my incisions back up. They stitched them up, and then of course the next day we flew back. When we were flying back, honestly, the journey wasn't even that bad. I've heard a lot of girls and boys say, you know, they'll fly back after surgery and it's the worst thing ever, it's so difficult. Now, we actually paid for a seat with extra leg room, so I was able to stand up most of the flight. Now, the only problem was, like I said, the swelling. So on the day I was coming back, my downstairs region was that big. It was a horrific sight. Like, I had to, it was really, really embarrassing. And I want to talk about this because if you are transgender, and if, of course, you're very insecure about certain parts on your body and you're going for this procedure, because I had so much fat removed from my body, I had like a total of 7 litres of fat removed from my body. I think due to gravity, you know, the fluid accumulates and it goes all the way down. It goes in your legs, your thighs, your feet, and it goes in your genital region as well. So if you're transgender, honestly, and you're thinking of getting lipo, I'm just telling you that it's it's fucking scary, like when you see what happens down there. The fact that I was walking through the airport coming back, I was holding it and I had like my BBL cushion with me, so I was like concealing like down there because it was just so big. It was, honestly, it was horrific. And like I'd go past people and people would be like, and the fact that, you know, I have to kind of go through that, I mean, it is what it is. Number one thing that actually of course saved me was my amazing BBL pillow. Without this BBL pillow, I don't know what I would have done. I think I've retained a lot of fat in my body, and I haven't lost a lot of fat, and that's all thanks due to this pillow. So whenever I'm, you know, wanting to rest, or if I have to sit down, I'll kneel on the pillow. I've only recently started last week to actually, in intervals, lay on my bum and on my back. Usually I sleep on my stomach, but I'm so used to sleeping on my stomach, so it wasn't much of a headache for me. But this is a necessity. With this, guys, you can literally do anything. When we were in Turkey, we were in Ubers going everywhere to all these attractions, and I was literally kneeling in the Ubers with my BBL pillow in the back. I was like, can you move your seat a bit forward, please, because I've just had surgery. You need to be top notch with your aftercare. So I literally live in my garment. I was using boards and foams and like a backboard, but I've stopped using that in the past like 2 weeks. The boards are highly inconvenient. The foams are really inconvenient. It's really difficult to put your faja on. And once you've got it on, it's difficult to take it off. So you have to do like extensive research before you get surgery, because the aftercare is fucking crazy. It's harder than the surgery itself. Now in regards to my stomach, I'm not completely flat, and that's because I've got visceral fat. They've removed all the subcutaneous fat, which is fat that's just under the skin, but the fat that's deep under and that surrounds my intestines and my you know, bits inside, they couldn't remove that because it's quite dangerous fat. The only way you can get rid of it is diet, exercise, eating within a calorie deficit, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking my food intake really seriously. I'm having healthy fats, avocado, spinach, greens, salmon, you know, all these healthy fats. It's really important to consume these healthy fats in moderation, of course. You know, full fat Greek yogurt, nuts, black beans, and of course just do research on what you should be eating after surgery, because you don't want to put that weight back on. Now in regards to my results, I'm of course really happy with them, but it's still not complete. Now I want more projection in my hips and more projection in my bum. I mean, my results look amazing. My body, if you see the before and then if you see the after, the transformation is insane, but it's still not what I want it to fully look like. I want more projection in my hips. I want that kind of very, you know, but that's just my ideal of what I want my body to look like. Everyone's different. My body looks very natural. It looks like I've just gone to the gym, literally. All my clothes fit me so much better. A lot of my jeans I had to like donate. A lot of my you know, pants I had to donate because they no longer fit me. And it's really crazy because the jeans will fit me, but they're not in the back because my bum kind of like comes out like a shelf, so it doesn't fit me in the back. So I have to either get them tailored or donate them. I made the decision to donate them. So basically I've just been focusing on myself, my mental health as well, because this has been a roller coaster. It's been crazy, but when I've got my mind and my heart set on something, I'll of course do it. I'm just kind of taking care of my body now and the aftercare and everything, so yeah. If you have any other questions or anything, maybe reach out to me on Instagram. I'll put my social media links in the description so you guys can see. And yeah, that was my experience with my BBL. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want me to make any videos addressing anything, like I said, what to eat, aftercare or anything else, drop me a comment down below, and of course I'll answer them in the comments, or maybe message me on my social media platforms. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.